Well, today we begin the letter of First Peter. And one of the themes of First Peter is holiness and the importance of holiness in your life and in mine. Our first verse comes from chapter 1, verse 15, which says, "Instead, as he who called you is holy, be holy yourselves in all your conduct." And this is at the beginning of an appeal for holiness that runs all the way through chapter 2, verse 10. One of the things we see from the beginning of the Bible to the end is we see the holiness of God, that God is holy with a W, other, that God is separate from everything else, and God is pure, God is just, God is without sin, God is holy, and God calls us to a life of holiness as well. Now, I think if you look historically, oftentimes people in their minds, they separate, well, my spiritual life is that's what I do on Sunday or what I do on Sunday morning, or it's one slice of the pie of my life, if you will, is my spiritual life. And that's not a biblical understanding. We're called, Peter says, to holiness in all of our conduct. There's no aspect of your life or my life that shouldn't be impacted by our spiritual beliefs. And because we believe that God is holy and we worship a holy God, and that God calls us to holiness in all of our conduct, that's what we are striving for. So biblically, there isn't any distinction between the spiritual life and the secular life, or the religious life and the secular life. Everything that we do, we want to do in a godly way. We want to do in a way that reflects our relationship with God. So how do we do that? Well, again, part of it is so much, what do you read? What do you listen to? What is shaping your thinking? Because if our behavior is going to be holy, our behavior is just the outcome of what we think, what we believe, what we feel. So that's why listening to videos like this on a daily basis, reading our Bible, praying to God, asking God to continue to shape us and remake us, as I'm going to talk about tomorrow, is so important. You and I are not holy in and of ourselves. We need the forgiveness of Christ. We need the Holy Spirit working within us. The fancy church word for this is called the process of sanctification. That throughout the whole rest of our life, once we come to faith, it's a process of our growing, hopefully, in holiness, making every effort to do so as long as we live, so that we can be holy as the God we worship is holy.